It seems as if I'm watching our country lose its soul in real time while little girls are being swept away in this flood. Some people didn't mourn. They actually, unfortunately, celebrated, not because they were evil, but because they didn't share the same color. And the parents probably voted for Trump, they say. And when that wasn't dark enough, the media tried to blame it all on Trump himself. This is spiritual war. Let me show you exactly how far they gone.
I'm going to say it because y'all scary as fuck, and I don't give a damn. Them little girls, them people died because of racism, not politics. Boom, I said it. I don't give a fuck. And I said no. Nope, 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 nope. Because more YT people will have to DIE in order for motherfuckers to what? CARE. I said what the fuck I said. I don't give a fuck, and minds are here with me. We voted the correct way. You reap what the fuck you sow. Just the night before the flash flood happened, y'all were okay with motherfuckers being stripped away from their motherfucking families and never seeing them again. People being deported. Y'all were okay with that. Be okay with not finding Sarah Lou. Be okay with not finding Billy. Be okay with never seeing them again. Keep that same energy because I'm here for it. I am so here for it. Because I've been reading the comments and the shit y'all be saying. Y'all didn't give a fuck when it was brown people. We sorry that it's white people now, but that's going to happen. This is going to be a repetitive cycle going to happen over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until y'all get tired. Racism cost y'all more than y'all thought. Racism wrote that line? Racism wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash. Yeah, racism wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash. And guess who's paying for it? Okay.
Now, there are words that I just can't simply express right now. Excuse me. So I'll just say that's not grief. That's not activism. That's not that. What that is the face of rot. She said children deserve what because of racism. And unfortunately, she's not alone. Let me show you what kind of twisted mom thinks this makes sense.
You have to be a sick and twisted individual to equate a 7, 8, 9-year-old's death as deserving because of who their parents voted for. These people are weird and at this point borderline sociopaths because you hold voting, presidency voting, political issues so high above a child's life. Y'all are sick. Do not care who them people voted for. I could care less. As a mother, my heart breaks for them. Imagine dropping your child off at camp, telling them bye, see you when you get back, enjoy yourself, and you never get to pick them up. That makes me sick to my stomach as a mother. People on the internet trying to justify these kids' deaths that they didn't even see coming. In the middle of the night, catastrophic rainfall, and you want to say that they deserved it? Y'all are sick.
Exactly. But see, the sickness ain't just online. It's actually professional. With someone with credentials and dangerous. Let me show you what a children's doctor, yes, a pediatrician, sorry, I had to make sure I click the right clip. Listen to what she said about these victims.
You know, folks, unfortunately, this has become the sort of disgusting behavior that I've come to expect from those who consider themselves as quote unquote liberals and progressives. Look at this right here. May all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry. Kerr County MAGA voters to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts. This is a message that was posted by a pediatrician. Yeah. She is responsible for saving the lives of children, and yet that is what is in her heart. Now, fortunately, we have, I guess, the law of FAFO that has indeed kicked in, and she has lost her job, at least at her hospital. And I would hope that her medical license is at least in question. Because how are we supposed to trust that a woman like this, who holds these sorts of sentiments, are going to take care of our children when these sort of disasters take place? Where countless kids are currently missing, others have already been pronounced dead, and at least 51 people are deceased. This is the devil's work.
A doctor, someone trusted to protect children, publicly cheering for death because of politics. Now, she got fired, but here's what's worse. The media didn't cover it like outrage. They actually covered it like strategy. They started planting a lie.
Just on government staffing, it is far, far too early to draw any lines between a lack of government staffing, cuts, and what happened here. But much like after the plane accident, the plane crash in Washington, D.C. in January this year, people are going to look. Why was there only one person here? I'm sure people are going to be asking, why was the person who coordinated the emergency response not on? But it seems to me, David, there's just a bigger question as we move forward for the next flood, the next storm, the next hurricane. And we've been talking about this an awful lot over the last 6 months. The group of people that put together Project 2025, the group of people in Washington that have talked about cuts. Well, they're talking about cutting 8-9% of the budget. And we've always said this, the 8 or 9% of the budget that is actually what government does to help people, to save people's lives beyond defense, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and interest on the debt. There was one story I read this weekend about a county commissioner. They wanted to get sirens and first alert systems for the area most affected, and the county commissioner just said, on the local level, we don't have $50,000 to have an early emergency system. We didn't get grants from Washington, D.C., and we can't do that ourselves. Talk about generally, again, looking past this specific flood and looking to the next flood, the next hurricane, the next earthquake, how important it is that we actually staff up this 8, 9, 10% of our federal government that is so responsible for saving people's lives day in, day out.
Did you catch that? Too early to say. But let's talk about budget cuts anyway. Translation. We want you to think Trump did this. We're just too scared to say it yet. And while they were busy blaming spreadsheets and MAGA voters, a little girl was preparing herself for the worst.
I put on my name tag because I was scared that if water's coming out next to our other cabins, that our cabin might be next. And I just put it on just for safekeeping, saying in my head I was saying, if something does happen and I do get swept away, at least I'll have my name on my body.
That's what she was thinking about. Not climate change, not FEMA funding. Just, will they be able to identify my body? And while that child was clinging to life, here's what the left did. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I got these clips all confused and out of order.
Those people people in it. Oh my God, there's so many people in it.
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls' Christian camp. They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all-white, white-only, conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right, you ain't getting in, you ain't going, period. And I think that context needs to be said in this matter.
No, it doesn't. This is a perfect example of some of the people in our society who obsess over race. They make everything about race. Girls are dying and washed up in a flood, and her first thought is, what's like the racial demographic of the people who are missing in this camp? It's pathetic. People like this are the people who work and keep racial issues alive. She talks as if this camp only allows white girls, with no proof other than simply pictures. What if it's just simply white people primarily have been the ones that decide to go there? Different cultures do different things. Or maybe there have been multiple races of people there that just aren't in the pictures. I know, could be a crazy concept. But people with this mentality are the ones who are harming our country. They're not helping anything. And it's pathetic. Again, girls are dying. They've been swept up in a flood. And she's thinking, well, the people behind this, there's a lot of white people there. I'm not seeing much color, so they must be racist. And we need to know the context behind that. Be quiet. No, we don't need your context through your biased racial lens. We don't need that. And we don't want to hear it. These are the type of people who are obsessed with finding racial issues. It's pathetic. We should be focused on what matters, which is finding the people who are missing, not the racial demographic of a camp.
Listen, man, girls were dying, and your first thought was, this camp looks too white. This is what happens when identity politics infects human decency. They looked at missing children and saw a demographic chart. But let me show you what they ignored. The man that you see is Scott Ruskin. He saved 165 people during the flood. While they was tweeting hate, this man was saving lives. No political filter, no radical checklist. Just courage, just action. And he wasn't the only one.
That a hero, and that will never gone unnoticed.
It just started pouring in. We had to fight the door to get it closed just so that too much didn't come in. And we ran back to the room and we started calling 911.
Julian's fiance, Christina Wilson, says after 20 minutes, the water was up to their knees. Julian punching open a window to try and get her, their children, and his mother to the roof.
It severed his artery in his arm, almost cut it clean off.
Christina says they kept calling 911, but no one came in time to save him.
About 6 o'clock, my husband was dead. He had lost all of it, all his blood. He looked at me and the kids and my mother-in-law, and he was like, sorry, I'm not gonna make it, I love y'all.
Christina says she found her fiance after the water receded, but his body wasn't recovered for hours. Now, loved ones remember the man they call a hero.
He was the hero out of this story.
Especially when they told him my brother is dying. They should have went to him first. I mean, that's how I see it.
He's just the kindest person I've ever met in my life, and I will forever love him no matter what.
The four stand together, saying more needs to be implemented to never let this happen again.
All four of you, do you guys think that flood sirens would have saved lives in this situation?
Most likely.
Yes. Yes.
They would have been, everybody would have been worried, what's that noise, what's that noise?
We would have left, we would have went anywhere else. We have so many places we could have gone that were safe.
In Kerrville, I'm Amanda Henderson, KHOU 11 News.
Yeah, man. That was a real man right there. Julian Ryan. He definitely died a hero. And nobody's asking who he voted for, because his sacrifice speaks louder than any politician ever could, or any political affiliation. And yet the media still They still had one more card they thought they could play.
How much do you think the changing climate is part of what we are seeing go on here? Not just what we're seeing in the pictures that we're showing on the screen, but even the flood that you talked about in San Antonio in June.
No, I think climate change is obviously a part of it. These floods are happening more often in more parts of the country and really all over the world. And so we have to face that reality and be better prepared for it and combat it.
And just talking about the federal government and even the local government, 2 Texas National Weather Service offices involved in forecasting and warning about flooding on the Guadalupe River are missing some key staff members. A director of the NWS union told CNN that the Austin San Antonio office is missing a warning coordination meteorologist due to the Trump administration's buyouts. Do you have any indication whether those or other cuts helped play a role in the fact that the people in the flood zone were not prepared and certainly not evacuated?
These people, man.
No, I can't say that conclusively, but I do think that it should be. And I don't think it's helpful to have missing key personnel from the National Weather Service not in place to help prevent these tragedies. And, you know, when I say that we ought to do everything possible to help prevent a tragedy like again, that's part of what I mean. You know, that's why there's an incredible value to the National Weather Service is because, you know, on most days, obviously, you're not going to have a tragedy like this. But when you have flash flooding, you know, there's a risk that you won't have the personnel to make that, do that analysis, do the predictions in the best way, and it could lead to tragedy. So I don't want to sit here and say conclusively that that was the case, but I do think that it should be investigated, and having, you know, not having enough personnel is never helpful.
Here's what they didn't tell you. The offices, at least what I'm getting from the updated facts for right now, the offices were understaffed because of Biden era requirements, not Trump cuts. The storms were forecast early. Yeah, they were forecasted early. The warnings were delayed by bureaucracy, not budget. CNN ran with the narrative before facts even dropped. But if facts actually mattered to them, none of this would have made it to air.
Let's be honest here. If your reaction to the Texas flash floods was to smugly point your finger and say, oh, well, it's in a red state, they got what they deserved, or to insert politics or race into it in any way, shape, or form whatsoever, you are not a good person. You are a monster. You are not an activist. You do not need a platform. We know at this point over 50 people have lost their lives. Over a dozen of those have been children. And it's so sad to look online and see individuals who are claiming this is some sort of karma. Something is fundamentally wrong with people who would take that approach to an event such as this. I'm not going to sit here and say that every person on the left is celebrating this, but I've seen far too many posts of individuals who are smugly pointing to us and saying, oh, well, yeah, this is what happens. This is what you get. This is what you deserve. This is the current state of politics. Where is your sense of basic human decency at this point? The minute a red state suffers some sort of calamity, the first thing you think about is, oh, well, they get what they deserve because, oh, it's a red state. They had that coming to them. At this point, people would blame Trump for an asteroid hitting the earth. That's how foolish they've become. And it's so frustrating and so infuriating to see people who are making light of people, real actual people who are suffering right now in the aftermath of these flash floods. Now, I was born in San Antonio. Kerrville's not that far away, and my heart goes out to those families out there who are suffering right now, and I hope that more individuals are actually found alive. But I've seen too many videos, I've seen too many posts of individuals who are making light of this or poking fun at this, and they're gonna turn around and act like they have the moral high ground. That kind of mentality needs to end, it needs to stop, and we need to unilaterally call that out whenever we do see it. So those are my thoughts, and I'm hopeful that you agree.
It's unfortunate that this is becoming a growing trend. This mentality has definitely been infused and induced to the American society through legacy media. Look at how they frame these things. These people are heartless. However, Trump delivered his heartfelt regards.
So we say God bless all of the people that have gone through so much, and God bless the state of Texas. It's an incredible place. So we say.
Now, personally, I kept asking myself, even with the last video, what can I do to help or lead my platform or use my platform to help provide for these victims. And of course, you know, you've seen all the Red Cross and stuff pop up, and I'm just like, I don't know what to trust. I don't know who to trust. However, I did come across this post from Amuse. And, you know, going through the vetting process through AI and things of that nature, this was one of the local contribution links that they provided. If you want to help victims of Central Texas flooding, the best thing you can do is make a financial contribution. They don't need any more supplies or volunteers at this time. Here's how you can help. Then they provided this link, which led me to here, which is CFTEX. Yeah, look, I'm not even going to try to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the link in the pinned comment for y'all. And I want y'all to go to it. I want y'all to vet it. I want y'all to check it out. If it ain't in the pinned comment, it'll definitely be in the description. Vet it for yourself. Verify it. Check me for it. I don't want to be up here sending nobody in the wrong direction or nothing like that. I just want to do my part in helping. I will be sending my donation immediately after this video. But, you know, facts don't care about your narrative, you know, and neither do we. This isn't left versus right anymore, y'all. I tell y'all that all the time. It's good versus evil. Decency versus DK. And same thing, you know, back down. They're going to expose it every time. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Also, double check this for me and let's see what we can do.